Hey, it's Cassie Mish, Encirca rep for Northwest Indiana. I wanted to give you an update on what I'm seeing, all things Encirca. I've been doing a lot of nitrogen soil sampling from pre-plant until now, and actually will continue to be doing quite a bit more, a total of about 300 nitrogen samples or so. In the last video, I mentioned that I was in a field sampling. So I had a couple different points, same field. I had a sandy hill and then a darker, more productive soil. And it surprised me when I got the results back for nitrogen. They were almost exactly the same. So this has been confirmed in much of the soil sampling that I've done to date, as far as different soil types in the area, starting out with a similar place of nitrogen with the exception of muck. So not seeing a lot of difference in nitrogen by soil type up until around the V6 stage. So if we think about this a little bit, this actually makes some sense. Most of our nitrogen by soil type differences within a field don't really seem to happen until after about the V8 growth stage. So it's really not until we get to that point that we start to see how our temperature, our soil types, moisture affect our leaching and our mineralization, and how the soil types hold on to or lose nitrogen. Soil sampling for nitrogen definitely has its place, but the longer I do this, the more I believe in Encirca as a nitrogen management tool to tell us what's going on. Kind of in a bigger picture. So where I like to use nitrogen soil sampling is to look for general trends rather than get caught up in the specific numbers. So I ask questions like, do these numbers make sense with what I know about the field? How does that compare to what Encirca says? Is there still ammonium left in the soil that's not leachable and is still available for conversion to nitrate? Have we had cover crops on this field? These are the type of things that I look for when soil sampling for nitrogen. So where are we sitting on nitrogen? There are two things I want you to see on this nitrogen graph. First, the fall anhydrous, you can see around the first of the year and again in the March or April time frame, there's a dip in our black line, which is a dip in our nitrogen level in the soil. This is fairly representative of most fall anhydrous that I've seen. On average, I'd say a loss of about 30 pounds of N. Especially when you look at the number of days we've had above 50 degrees this spring and some spring rains. There are quite a few days above 50. So agronomically and based on soil sampling, I agree with this general statement. The second thing I want you to notice in the April plan is at tassel time we were estimated to have 119 pounds of N remaining in the soil in the top 24 inches, with an 82% chance that we would be full or moderate, having enough nitrogen, and an 18% chance of being low. So now, 2 months later, we're estimated to have 33 more pounds of N in the soil at tassel time than we were at April looking forward to tassel. So now we're at 96% chance of being full or moderate, having enough nitrogen by tassel, and only a 4% chance of being low. Or that another way to look at that, 4% chance of being low would mean only 2 years out of 50 we would not have enough nitrogen to meet our yield goal. So think about this, we've been about 3 inches drier than the 10-year average, so we're losing less nitrogen than average, and I believe we're also receiving more nitrogen through mineralization. So because of this, most customers' side dress recommendations were able to decrease about 25 to 30 pounds of N versus our plan that we originally put in April. The last thing I wanted to touch base on is a reminder for those of you who have the DTN subscription as part of your Encirca package to explore your mydtn.com subscription. There's a lot of neat information on there. As we know, weather is definitely really important to Encirca nitrogen racks. I know other competitors and sources are using just public weather stations, which are represented by the yellow dots on the screen. Encirca uses those, but also additional on-farm weather stations that we place to nitrogen customers, represented by the purple dots. So this importance of using actual and more weather stations was made very clear to me again recently in a storm I was recently went through. So it's not uncommon to have pop-up showers like this one. We know this. If you were only using public stations, this rainfall wouldn't have been captured on your fields. But this pop-up shower left a swath of fields receiving about 1/10 to 7/10, and north and south of there received almost nothing. So you can see how figuring in accurate rainfall into your Encirca nitrogen plan makes a difference. In this case, this pop-up was a smaller, decently small amount of rain, but you get several of those, and that makes a difference to how nitrogen and weather is recorded on your field. So that's my Encirca update for now. I will talk to you again soon.